The timepiece hanging on the wall chimed the hour of 7 in the evening, casting its melodious spell across the tranquil security hut. Suddenly, a series of gentle but persistent knocks echoed through the stillness, disrupting the serene atmosphere that enveloped the space. Tap, tap, tap. A man of mature years with a hint of weariness etched upon his features swiftly wiped away the remnants of sardines clinging to his lips before responding in a resounding tone. Come in, come in. The door of the security hut parted slowly, allowing entry to a young man clad in the uniform of a security officer. Mr. Taram? Inquired the youth. Yes. You must be Biden, the new guy? Mr. Taram affirmed, extending his hand for a handshake. Yes, I am. How are you, Mr. Taram? Biden replied, accepting the gesture of greeting. I'm fine. Have you eaten? Here, I have one more sardine puff. I couldn't finish it, Mr. Taram hospitably offered. No, thank you, Mr. Taram. I've already eaten. Biden declined politely. Very well, then. Can I ask, do you have experience working as a night security guard? Mr. Taram inquired. Biden nodded confidently. Yes, Mr. Taram. I have prior experience as a night security guard at an old iron factory in Skudai. Ah, that old shuttered factory. That's good to hear. Experience counts. Are you familiar with the clock-in procedures? Mr. Taram continued. Yes, Mr. Taram. Good. Now, let me ask you one more thing. Are you easily frightened? Mr. Taram's gaze bore into Biden. Not at all, Mr. Taram. I can handle seeing and hearing things. Back at the old factory, I once spotted an apparition of a woman hanging from a tree. I merely shrugged it off. Biden replied confidently. Is that so? He, 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 he. All of a sudden, a burst of loud, eerie laughter, reminiscent of a spectral presence hovering above them, seized the attention of both Beden and Mr. Taram. Their gazes lifted simultaneously toward the unseen source of the disturbance. Do you hear that? Taram asked. Yes, Mr. Taram. This is why I say you have to have nerves of steel. This school is haunted, rife with unearthly beings. But do not worry. If the laughter sounds loud, it means the entity is distant. If you hear it faintly, it's near the door. Are you brave enough? Mr. Taram tested Beden's resolve. Fearless, Mr. Taram. You don't have to worry. Biden reassured him calmly. All right, let's go. I'll show you the clock-in spots. But on the way there, you'll see all sorts of things. Don't run, Mr. Taram warned. Okay, Mr. Taram. They walked side by side to the first clock-in point, located in the cafeteria behind the school. The night was silent, occasionally interrupted by the sounds of crickets, owls, and the distant barking of dogs. The flashlight was not used. Their journey was illuminated under the soft glow of the moonlight, including the expanse of the field situated to the right. Biden turned toward the field, halting abruptly as his eyes widened at the sight before him. 4 shadowy figures floated ominously in the middle of the field, unmoving and stooped. Though they were at a distance, it was enough to make Biden's hair stand on end. Do you see that? Those are the spirits of the school bullies. They fought with knives in the middle of that field and died there. Every night, they must appear. Are you scared, Biden? Paktaram inquired, his voice tinged with a mix of concern and challenge. No problem, Paktaram. Do not worry, Biden replied calmly before redirecting his gaze forward. Good. The first clock-in machine is there. Let's go. The first clock-in machine was situated at the edge of the canteen. Suddenly, Biden heard the sound of tables and chairs being dragged. He quickly turned to see the furniture moving on its own, sending shivers down his spine. Those are the ghosts of the students poisoned by food. They ate, vomited, and died right there. Every night they cause a ruckus, but they won't harm you. Are you scared, Biden? Paktaram questioned. No problem, Paktaram. Do not worry, Beeden assured him serenely. Very well. The second clock-in machine is on the fourth floor of this building. The school has no elevator, so we must climb the stairs. On the way up, you may hear and see many things. Are you brave enough? Pakteram tested once more. I am brave, Pakteram. Do not worry, Biden replied calmly. All the lights in the old school had been extinguished, except for the staircase lights. Upon reaching the second floor, Biden heard the heartbreaking sobs of a woman echoing through the dimly lit corridor, a sound laden with sorrow and loss. Pausing to glance into the darkened corridor, Biden caught sight of a young girl hunched over, hands covering her face, her body swaying from side to side as if consumed by inconsolable grief. Without hesitation, Biden averted his gaze and swiftly trailed behind Pakteram to the third floor. There they were met with the repeated slamming of a door, deafening and indicative of intense anger. Though unnerving, Biden pressed on, his lips moving in silent prayer as he climbed to the fourth floor. In the dimly lit corridors of the fourth floor, Biden found himself enveloped by a soft, haunting whisper that seemed to dance upon the air. Bidin, Bidin, he 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 he, Bidin, he he he. The delicate voice of a young boy, interspersed with mischievous laughter, echoed through the empty hallways. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, Biden scanned his surroundings, only to find an eerie emptiness that enveloped him like a shroud. Just ignore it, Biden. That's the ghost of the student who took his own life 8 years ago. Jumped off this very floor after discovering he'd failed his exams badly. No faith, no peace. Don't be startled if he decides to show himself. He has this knack of appearing beside you when you least expect it. Do you dare confront him? Bidden met Pakteram's gaze with calm resolve, his voice unwavering in the face of uncertainty. I dare, Pakteram. Do not worry. A smile flickered across Pakteram's weathered face at the young man's confident retort. It's rare to find a fearless companion like you. Those before you resigned within an hour of starting this job. I'm curious, though. What is it that truly frightens you? In a sudden twist of fate, Biden's eyes widened as they fixated on a spot just beyond Pakteram's shoulder. That, I am afraid of that. Spontaneously, Pakteram turned his head and caught sight of a cockroach on the wall. Cockroach. Kill it, Pakteram. Kill the cockroach. Arg! Biden's cry shattered the stillness of the night, his fear palpable in the trembling of his voice. Suddenly, the cockroach unfurled its wings and darted toward Biden, who frantically swatted at the air in a desperate attempt to ward off the tiny intruder. Meanwhile, the laughter of the young boy only grew louder, a sinister backdrop to Biden's plight, perhaps finding amusement in the man's comical reaction. And in that moment, Biden succumbed to the overwhelming terror that gripped him. He fainted, collapsing in a heap upon the cold, unforgiving floor. Epilogue. Biden, wake up, Biden, wake up. Biden opened his eyes, bewildered. He looked around and found himself back in the security hut. I'm the one who carried you here. What's wrong with you? Not afraid of ghosts, but afraid of cockroaches? Pakteram said, astonished by the young man's strange behavior. I am indeed afraid. Suddenly, Biden's mouth gaped as he spotted a cockroach on the ceiling. What's wrong with you now? The ceiling is high, 3 meters, far from you. Still scared? Pakteram asked, puzzled. Please, kill it, Pakteram. I don't like it. Please, Biden pleaded, sweat beading on his forehead. All right, all right. Wait, oh goodness, Pakteram grumbled. The old man shook his head before turning his body around. Now his back was facing Biden. Without warning, Pakteram extended his tongue, reaching all the way to the ceiling. In the blink of an eye, the cockroach stuck to the end of his tongue, and just as quickly, the cockroach disappeared into Pakteram's mouth, like a lizard. Then, Pakteram's head twisted 180 degrees to face Biden, while his body remained facing forward. His mouth moved, chewing the cockroach inside. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound of the cockroach's legs breaking as Pakterum bit down. After swallowing the cockroach, Pakterum grinned, and in that moment, Bidden collapsed. Once again. Let me tell you a few stories that still give me chills to this day. Story 1. The Shadow in the Hallway. A few months ago, I had an experience I forgot about until now. My husband had just left to run to the store. It's only a minute down the road. I was in our bedroom watching Netflix when I got up to use the bathroom. I came back, closed the door behind me, and locked it, like we usually do since we have 2 roommates. A few moments later, I realized the door was locked, so I got out of bed to unlock it. That's when I noticed something strange, the hallway light shining under the door, and the clear shadow of someone's feet walking past. But here's the thing. My roommates weren't home, and I already heard my husband drive away. I figured maybe it was our dog, so I unlocked the door and got back in bed. A minute later, I saw the same shadow pass by the door again. I got up, opened the door. Nothing. Just the lit hallway. I called the dog. Nothing. Called again. Still nothing. I figured he was just asleep downstairs, so I shut the door, left it unlocked, and got back in bed. A few minutes later, my husband returned. He came upstairs, opened the door, and the dog ran in, happy as ever. Then my husband said something that stopped me cold. He did so good on the car ride. He had taken the dog with him. Story 2. Waverly Asylum. A few years ago, my friend and I spent the night at Waverly Asylum in Kentucky. We were on the 2nd floor, walking through the main hallway. We were deciding where to go next, deeper into the dark or explore the nearby rooms. She said, "Let's go forward." We took a few steps, flashlights flickering, and that's when I saw it. A pitch-black mass, like a shadow but denser, passed right in front of me, barely a foot away. I stopped immediately and said, no. Let's go this way instead." We changed course, and when I asked her if she saw it too, she said no. Story 3. The Nanny and the Locked Door. About 5 years ago, I was working as a nanny. Most mornings I'd arrive at 4:30 a.m. so the parents could leave for work. This particular morning, it was just me and the 2-year-old boy, E. His sister was having a sleepover at Grandma's. I had the baby monitor on, just audio, and was drinking coffee, watching the morning news. Around 6 a.m., I started to nod off when I heard a deep, harsh cough, not like a toddler's cough. This was low and raspy, like an old smoker. I sat up, confused, heard it again. I rushed upstairs to check on E, but the door wouldn't open. It was locked. E was too short to lock it, and the parents swore they never locked that door. I called his name. Nothing. Panic set in. I grabbed a penny, jimmied the lock open, and found E sound asleep in the dark room, alone. Later I tried to tell the mom, but she cut me off and said, "I don't want to know," like she already did know, but didn't want to admit it. Story 4. Something hit the couch. A few months after that, I was sitting on the couch with E's sister. E was on the floor playing with his toy tractors, bubble guppies on the TV. All of a sudden, I felt something wrong, like something watching me. Then bam, something slammed into the back of the couch. Hard. Even the little girl noticed. She looked at me and asked, "Why did you kick the couch?" But I hadn't moved. I was so freaked out, I packed the kids into the car and spent the whole day at the park. The family moved a few months later. The mom never brought up anything strange, never talked about what happened. But I'll never forget that house, or the feeling that something else was living there too. If you've ever had a ghostly encounter, or a moment that made your skin crawl? Let me know in the comments. And if you're brave enough, hit that like button and subscribe for more true ghost stories. This is my first post on Reddit, but honestly, I don't know where else to talk about this, and it's been weighing on me for years. When I was 10 years old, living in Perth, Western Australia, my Year 5 class took a school trip to Fremantle Prison. At the time, I was just starting to feel comfortable in my new school after moving away from a traumatic home. Things were looking up until this trip changed everything. Fremantle Prison, for those who don't know, is notorious for being haunted, but I didn't know that back then. The tour guide led us through the building, and eventually we made it to the second floor. There, he told us about the safety nets installed between the stairs, put there because inmates used to jump or push others off the railings. As he spoke, I looked down the hallway. I was holding my friend's hand because I was overwhelmed by how many people were around. And that's when I saw it. A man, not just a shadow, a full, solid person. He looked about 45 or 50, wearing only white underwear, and there was a massive wound on his head. We stared at each other for a solid 10 seconds before he slowly turned and walked straight into a closed prison cell, right through the shut door. I was frozen in place. I gripped my friend's hand tighter and stepped behind them. They asked me what was wrong, but I couldn't speak. My voice just wouldn't come out. They must have thought I was just spooked by the suicide story and gently wrapped their arm around me. But what I saw, it wasn't in my head. I've had hallucinations before, and even now I still do because of my trauma. But this wasn't like that. My hallucinations are never detailed. They're shadows, shapes. This man looked real. I've never told anyone about this, not even my therapist. Just thinking about it makes me feel watched, paranoid. But I needed to get it off my chest. Whether it was a spirit of the prison or something else entirely, one thing's for sure. That child saw something that stayed with her ever since.
Thanks for tuning in. Watch another video if you dare.